Good afternoon. Want to call to order the August 12, 2021 meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority and the Sacramento Abandoned Vehicle Service Authority, and welcome all who've joined us here in chambers, but those who are joining by phone or by Zoom. And we have a pretty full agenda. I don't know that it'll be lengthy, but nonetheless, we've got some items of business that need to be covered here today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and we'll call the roll, and I'll ask Darrell to do that, please, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and get right into the agenda. Make any announcements as well, Darrell. If you want to do that after you call the roll, that'd be great.
Yes.
Thanks.
Member Desmond? Frost?
Here.
Desmond. Frost? Guetta?
Here.
Harris?
Here.
Kozlowski?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Miller? Natoli?
Here.
Sandu?
Here.
Chenier?
Here.
Avdis?
Here.
Singh Allen? Speece?
Present.
Terry?
This is Siri instead of Terry.
Oh, thank you. Valenzuela?
Here.
And Vang?
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Very good.
Singh Allen is here.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Sing Allen, Bobby.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Again, welcome. Darrell, you want to read the announcements into the record, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance after that.
Yes. In compliance with the directives of the County, State, and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, this meeting is live streamed and close to in-person public participation. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. To make a verbal comment at today's meeting, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. When the chair opens public comment for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matters, callers will be transferred from the queue into the meeting to make a verbal comment. Written comments are always accepted. Send your email comment to board clerk at saccounty.net. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. This meeting of the Sacramento Transportation Authority is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.net. Today's meeting will replay Sunday, August 15th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14. And that concludes my announcements.
Okay, thank you, Darrell, for doing that. Mr. Jones, would you lead the Pledge of Allegiance today?
Hands over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Tim. Okay, then we'll move down into our agenda. And first is comments from the public regarding matters not on the agenda. Do we have any members of the public?
We do not have any public comment for item number 1 at this time.
Okay. I understand we may have some under a latter item, but not at this point. Okay. If there's no one then speaking on item, we'll move down to our Executive Director's report. Sabrina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy August. Quick reminder that school is back in session, so please be aware as you're driving in school zone to have some extra caution and some extra patience. So we have a lot happening here at STA. The staff are actively working with FM3 and are in the process of conducting a countywide phone survey about a potential 2022 ballot measure. We concluded our qual board a few weeks ago, and again, the phone survey is underway. We anticipate having FM3 present the findings at our September 15th governing board meeting. As part of our public outreach process, we are also in the process of updating the website and the logo to become ADA compliant, as well have updated photos and terminology. So we anticipate that going live in early September. The Oversight Committee is still in the process of looking for a new committee member replacement. There have been some advertisements on some county websites, but if you are looking, or if you know of a potential person to be a voting member of the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee, please direct them to the STA or ITALC websites for application information. In statewide news, the Climate Change Action Plan for Transportation Infrastructure, or CAPTI, has been finalized and adopted by the California State Transportation Agency. This plan lays the framework for how California will invest in transportation in the future in response to several executive orders by the governor to reduce greenhouse gases. So this has potential impact for eligible state funding for STA member agencies, and I'm currently working with the CTC to understand any impacts it would have to our projects and potentially mitigate any impacts. So member agencies and I have a meeting in a few weeks with the CTC to discuss this. Most importantly, direct impacted is the $200 million annual local partnership program that STA is a nominating agency for, and we're looking to see how potential impacts going into the future. And speaking of funding, the Senate passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and it is now on to the House. Hopefully at the September board meeting, we can bring forward any updates after the House has brought it to the floor. And Chair, that serves as a conclusion of my Executive Director's report.
Great. Thank you, Sabrina. Any questions of board members of our Executive Director or the report? Any items you want to comment on? Any hands up, Darrell?
I do not see any hand raises at this time.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thanks for a good report. By the way, our September meeting has been pushed back a week, has it? Or do we get a date set for that yet?
Yes, I believe Darrell will be sending out an email that it has been moved to September 15th.
Okay. So just by way of note, September 15th then for the next meeting. Okay. All right. If there's no comments, any public comments on the ED's report?
We do not have any public comment at this time for item number 2.
Okay. All right. Then we'll go to our consent calendar. We have items 3 through 8 as noted, and we have both Jennifer and Timothy and Sabrina here to answer any questions. So do we have any member of the board wish to speak to or pull off an item off the consent calendar?
Chair, I move consent.
All righty. Thank you. Member Harris? We have a second?
Second, Kozlowski.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak?
I do not have any public comment for item number 3, and I don't see any hand raises from the directors to pull anything from the consent.
Okay. So it's not item 3. It's 3 through 8, right? Or we can do those, or are you going to cover those? They're under consent? So we're taking this as a motion, all as one motion, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Once again, back to the directors. Any questions on any items?
No hand raises.
All right. Very good then. No members of the public to comment. We'll go ahead then, and we have a motion and a second, and I'll ask you to call a roll, please, Darrell.
Yes. Desmond?
Aye.
Frost? Yetta?
Yet aye.
Harris?
Aye.
Kozlowski?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Natoli?
Aye.
Sandu?
Aye.
Chenier?
Aye.
Avdis?
Aye.
Singh Allen?
Aye.
Spees? Pulputi?
Lipati, and yes.
My apologies. Valenzuela?
Yes.
In vain.
Yes.
And your motion carries with Frost and Spees being absent.
Did you call speak?
Wait, Spees is not absent. Spees said aye.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I heard him say aye. So thanks, Kevin.
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry. So,
And Frost is there too. So okay.
oh, she is there. Okay. Thank you. So
Sorry,
then your
I
motion, unanimous vote, your motion carries with a unanimous
Got
vote.
everybody registered an aye vote. So okay. Thank you for your patience and thanks for calling the roll. Okay. Then that takes us down to our separate matters, and first item, actually the only item in the separate, with the exception of the comments, is the Sacramento Abandoned Vehicle Service Authority a discussion regarding Sunset 2022 status update. I know Jennifer was here last go around, as was Sabrina and Mr. Burke. So I'll turn to whoever's going to do the presentation and give us the summary, and we'll hear from members of the public and the board. Jennifer or Sabrina.
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. I wanted to do a quick recap of everything that's been going on from my staff report. For polling, SASFA-related polling questions have been incorporated into the STA sales tax polling efforts. For the ballot cost, the original ballot costs the county elections office provided were incorrect. The correct costs are in our favor, starting at 0. There is no cost if the measure language fits on 4 pages or less of the voter information guide. Each additional page is $10,528, respectively. Public education and outreach. Preliminary research on public education and outreach costs range between $50,000 and $262,000. The range is wide as to accommodate all possible budget constraints, and there is a breakdown in the staff report. Member involvement. To date, only 3 of the 7 SASFA members have been able to present the SASFA sunset and possible tax measure to their governing bodies. Elk Grove has moved their item to the August 25th meeting. So far, Folsom has approved a resolution in support of SASFA pursuing an extension. Citrus Heights' consensus was not to support a tax measure. City approved a resolution to move forward once potential ballot measure and actual costs were identified. In review, although the update on estimated costs for placing a measure on the June 2022 ballot are more favorable, time is running out to get a consensus in support of a tax measure among all the members, to provide adequate public education and outreach and meet procedural deadlines such as approval of draft measure, public hearings, ballot language submission, etc. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you, Jennifer. Just important update. I think it'd be helpful to your point about, the clock is running here, and obviously all the member entities have been noticed of this. Some have taken it up, others have not yet, and I don't know what the schedule is for that. I think it would be helpful if we're going to carry this on our agenda, maybe to have, again, at least the timeline, so we know, to your point about ballot measures, but if nothing else, just we've gotten new, updated, I guess, and positive information as it relates to the voter registration and elections cost. Those have some very firm dates. Others certainly are dependent upon the consideration that our elected bodies would give to this matter and how it might be framed and so forth. But I think it might be good to, if we're going to carry that, to include that, just to schedule as a reminder to folks, as the months come and go, the window will narrow, and everything would have to be in order, as I understand it, by late February, early March. But there's a lot of things that have to happen between now and then. So I think that might be a good reminder just of the time sensitivity, recognizing that we're now almost in mid-August. So, all right. So let me turn to authority members, or Sabrina or Bill. Did you have anything else you wanted to add on this? Okay. All right. So we have hands up by.
I do not see any hand raises at this time from any of the. Oh, okay. Now we have one for Member Miller.
Okay. Yes, Steve.
Chair DePoli.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. The council was 3-2 against it based on the costs, as well as wanting to hear the polling numbers. So I think with the reduced cost, we could reconsider our position.
Okay. Well, thanks, Steve. And we should have, again, since this has been included in the polling, and as we all heard, Sabrina said that we would have, in all likelihood, for September meeting, the survey results, at least in a understandable context. I don't know if they're all going to be tabbed and all that, but we'll have some background. And that might be helpful to some of the others who've yet to consider it or maybe be carrying on their agenda to know, one, obviously revised costs, which were significantly different than some of the early estimates. And then secondly, to have the survey results. So that may be something we want to consider. But very good point, Steve. Thank you for that. So anything else?
Yes, Director Harris.
Okay, Jeff.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. This is a really important program to the city of Sacramento. We have a very significant load of abandoned vehicles added to by the homeless population in a very significant way. I feel that it's really imperative for this board to understand the significance of what it means region-wide and hope that we can get buy-in with all the jurisdictions. Thank you, Chair.
Good. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Other members?
I do not see any other hand raises at this time.
Okay.
Director?
Yes,
We can send out an updated cost breakdown to the receiving agencies as well as the timeline, just so everyone has that prior to the next.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be helpful, and certainly to authority members, but I think to city managers, county executive, to make sure that they're in receipt of that as well, as they're looking to certainly work with their councils and the board in this case. Okay, thanks. That'd be great, and I would suggest we carry this item on our agenda. Every month, and if there are updates in between, certainly keeping with the Brown Act requirements, make
Absolutely.
sure that people are kept updated appropriately. So, okay, very good. All right, anyone else?
No, there are no other hand raises, and there are also no public comments at this time for item number 9.
Okay, all right, very good. Well, thank you for the update. Thanks for the comments, Directors Miller and Harris, and we'll see this back on our agenda in September and probably for several months beyond. So, okay, there's no action required. It was a separate matter, but no action required. A status update. So we move to the agenda fairly quickly. I know we do have comments by authority members. I understand we have one member of the authority, and there may be some guest speakers, and through the chair, working with our executive director, I'm prepared to grant some additional time beyond what might be our normal 3-minute to allow folks to speak from the floor on a item that I believe will be of interest to certainly to the authority and to others. So with that, then we'll take comments from authority members. Do we have a hand raised?
Yes, we have Director Chenier.
Okay, very good. All right, Jay, floor is yours.
Thanks, Chair Natolian. For some reason, my hand raise function is not showing up on my screen, so I apologize.
Okay.
I have to go old school. This authority and the board has certainly signaled a desire to discuss a new initiative to raise funds for transportation over time, a new Measure A, we hope, possibly next year. And in so doing, has commissioned a poll, which I am excited about and really look forward to the results. As many of you know who follow elections, there are now a couple of ways that people can do this, and one is by a citizens initiative and a certain amount of signatures, which would change fundamentally the bar on what it would take to pass an initiative from 2/3 to 50% plus one as an initiative. We know that there are folks in the community who are looking at that possibility. And as this board makes its decisions, it needs to have full information on what's happening. So after talking to the executive director, what I'd like to do is ask Dave Townsend, who's working on this with a number of people in the community, to give a very brief overview of what they're doing, but then ask that we formally agendize this for our next meeting to bring one or two election lawyers in so that we can understand the pluses and minuses of doing this and get a more full briefing on what this citizens group is doing and what role they would play and potentially what role or non-role this board would play. So I know we worked with this to call David, and I'm hoping that we can get him on so he can do, again, a brief overview, but with the idea that we would come back next month with a more detailed agenda item for discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. So, again, by way of an introduction, the topic today, and then we're inviting Mr. Townsend to join us by telephone. Darrell, do we have David on?
Yes, we do have him on the line. Mr. Townsend, can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. You can go ahead on with your comments.
Good afternoon, David.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Don. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Sabrina. Briefly, I've been asked to just kind of give a sense of what's going on. on the efforts to pass a half-cent sales tax for transportation. I know that STA is conducting the poll, or is going to be conducting a poll, which is good. But since when we last worked on all this, all of us together, the last 2 years, 2 appellate courts have ruled that a citizens initiative only requires a 50% plus 1 margin for a successful campaign. We all know that that's a significant difference between 2/3. And so it's pretty much established law, and Jay has asked that I provide a couple of the top political lawyers in the state who are working with us to talk about that with the board in September, if that is still desired. Currently, frankly, most of the private sector people that were involved for the last 2 years have continued to work with many of you in the various agencies to begin to move forward on this private sector approach so that we can get the 50 plus 1 threshold. So currently, the process is being developed to form a 501c4, and that would be to allow the refinement of the ballot measure that was drafted and approved by STA last year, and so there won't be a lot of drafting, but there'll be some just to get things up to date. All of the interested parties that have been involved up to this point, have agreed that all of the percentages that were negotiated and approved by STA and all of the regional governments would stay the same. The goal would be to submit the language in language for the ballot measure, which would be very, very similar to the ballot language that was developed by STA under Will Kempton. That language would be submitted October to November, somewhere in that time frame. And then County Council would give us a title and summary, and then we could commence with getting signatures. The campaign committee would likely be formed in December or January, so there's not going to be any sort of campaign activity until that time, and then that gives us sufficient time to gather the necessary signatures and present it to the Board of Supervisors for it to be placed on the November 2022 ballot. So that's where things are progressing at this point, and I'm willing to take any questions or comments.
Well, thanks, David. So let me turn to authority members. Do you have any questions or comments, Mr. Townsend, at this juncture?
I do have one hand raised from Director Valenzuela.
Okay, sure. Katie, go ahead.
Thank you. I really appreciate Mr. Townsend coming to the authority with this initiative. It's the first I'm hearing of a community-led initiative, and so I think part of what I'd like to understand in September is who you're working with in the community and what stakeholders have been engaged so far. I will not be shy because it was well known that I opposed the last Measure B that was on the ballot because I didn't think it reflected well the needs and priorities and the climate that we were having in our future, and wanted to see a measure that was a little bit more informed, particularly by our disadvantaged communities and our climate goals. And so that's something that I'm really interested in again. And I guess this is just an early flag. I think it would be incredibly foolish of us to proceed with a measure that was designed before COVID, not only before we see the polling, but because of the transportation systems in our region have fundamentally changed, that people are looking for fundamentally different things and the networks in their community. And I just really hope that we'll wait until the full polling is back and we can really hear from the community about what they need before we make decisions about how to proceed on a potential sales tax measure. The 50% threshold is great. Won't deny it. That makes a huge difference, but really want us to be thoughtful, since this is something that we'll be with for the next many, many years, that we are really thoughtful about not just what passes, but what's best for our region. So I'll just flag that for September, and thank you again for bringing this forward, and I hope that information helps you prepare for that presentation.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Okay, I have Member Harris and Member Frost. Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Don. With due respect to my colleague, I'm in complete disagreement with her comments. Having worked on this project for over a year, I think that a tremendous amount of thought has gone into this in terms of benefit to the overall community and as well as the need. I think this is a very good strategy. I would like to pursue it with all haste. In actuality, we know what the outcomes are. We've discussed this many times on this board, and I'd just like to say to David, thank you, and if I can help in any way, I'm willing to do so.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff. You've been very helpful over the last 2 years.
Good. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, Sue, Member Frost.
Oh, yes, David, I was wondering if you could, I might have got distracted and didn't hear this, so I apologize if you had already covered this, but the benefit of the 501c4, could you explain the benefit of the 501c4?
Yeah, I did not say anything about that, Sue. The 501c4 allows us to raise money from the private sector and only the private sector to do additional research. We'll do additional research beyond what STA is doing in their polling to really tighten things down and make sure we have this thing exactly right. So it will also allow us to provide for hiring the lawyers to do the drafting and making sure that's all done right. And so a C4 is a legal mechanism that allows us to do that before we file a campaign committee and then move into the campaign mode of actually promoting a ballot measure and getting the signatures.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sue. Others wish to ask any question, make any comments at this juncture? We will see it back on our agenda in September.
I do not see any.
Don, if I could kind of wrap up.
Sure, go ahead,
would
Jay.
be great.
Yeah, you bet. Sure.
Thanks.
You.
So I appreciate the time today, and Sabrina, I appreciate the discussions that we've been able to have just about process here. It's going to be really important, I think, for the board to understand what we can do and what we can't do under current law. That's why we want to have some election lawyers come and talk to the board and what influence we can or can't have as well in this. I mean, it's a little bit of a different day. We know that, and I want to give a shout out to our colleague Patrick Kennedy, who probably had well over 100 meetings last time around for the initiative that never made it to the final ballot because of COVID. Tremendous amount of outreach, and the challenges and difficulties, as Mr. Harris has talked about, the challenges and difficulties of getting our diverse region onto the same page to do something that we all know we need, and we need different pieces of that. So I would just hope, if folks can certainly get in touch with David if they have specific questions that he will answer next time around, or you can email me and I'm happy to forward them to him. So that we can have as robust a discussion as a starting point for this, for us too as well, and also look at what other communities are doing in this sense. So I appreciate the time today and look forward to the discussion, because we need to get this done one way or another.
Thanks, Jay. I just wanted to ask, Bill, is there anything you want to weigh in on? Again, we're going to have this back on our agenda. Is there anything we need to be advised as relates to this matter and how it gets agendized and so forth? It's information, so right now, today.
Sure. Eventually, this board is going to have an agenda item to discuss, first of all, the polling results. Second of all, whether or not it wants to go forward with its own measure. And there's a lot to consider there. As we've just heard, whether or not there is a competing citizens initiative measure to be aware of, and to consider how that might affect, election results. But I agree with the basic statement that these 3 or 4 cases that have come out in the last 2 years do provide that a simple majority is all you need for a citizens initiative. This board's going to probably want to be concerned about the extent to which individual members can be involved in a separate process. The most recent case out of San Francisco did involve one supervisor, San Francisco supervisor, who was a proponent of a local measure, initiative measure, and the court allowed that because it didn't see it as the local government trying to circumvent the 2/3 requirement. But beyond that, that's as much, I guess, flexibility as there is. So that's going to be something for everyone on this board to keep in mind.
Very good. Thanks. And offer some guidance in that respect. Sabrina, anything you wanted to add? We still have David on the phone. Anything?
No, I will absolutely agendize this as part of the September board meeting, and happy to bring in any experts that the board would like me to bring in. So.
And assuming the agenda, I think, will be a little fuller as it relates to at least information. How that reflects any decisions be made, I don't know, but so I just prepared. Today's was fairly abbreviated in at least the ability to act on items, but we're going to have a couple of presentations, it sounds like, for this September. I'm certainly, fine with having some additional follow-up to the conversation we just had under public comment. But I think, hearing the survey results and getting a chance to understand how that factors into all the considerations that are before this body, but before the community in general. So that's going to be important. So you'll have the folks here for that.
Yeah, we're banking our time this month for next month.
Okay, very good. All right, let me go back to authority members. Any other member that I missed that wanted to speak or ask questions of Mr. Townsend or our staff? Darrell, anybody?
I don't see any hand raises.
Okay, all right. So we'll see this back here in a little more than a month from now. All right, then.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah, thank you,
Appreciate
Jay.
it.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Thank you, David, for being on the phone. So. Okay, to be continued. Any other authority members' comments on any other item or subject matter before we move to adjournment?
Okay. And also, just for the record, there are no public comments for item number 10.
Okay, very good. Okay. Well, with that, using Sabrina's terminology, we banked some time for September's meeting. So, again, thank you all for joining. Thanks to our staff and to clerk staff for helping us to this meeting. And we'll stand adjourned at 2:02. Thank you all. Have a good rest of the day.